Did you know that Haiti qualified for the World Cup in 2026? This was the first time since 1974. Now, that's despite not even playing one game in their home country. Haiti is known for something that many people don't know these days because I guess they don't study history. Haiti is the first Black independent slave revolt country in the world. But despite that, it still is the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. We recently traveled to Suriname to watch my son play some soccer or football. And we encountered or met someone from the Philippines there. And we told her where we were from. And she was like very confused. She had no idea. She thought Haiti was in Hawaii. So Haiti, still not as well known as I think it should be, has gotten a bad rap for a long time. And so in this episode, in this special episode, we're going to discuss and have a conversation with 6, including myself, Haitian professionals that I don't believe it has ever been done before. We're going to talk about the key factors that I think are associated with success amongst the Haitian diaspora, common elements of Haitian life in the 80s that would be terrific to see again, and the one thing I think that could change everything in Haiti. So listen to this episode. This is the first episode that I believe of its kind where 6 professionals share positivity in this crazy world we're living in. Welcome to a special edition of the Independent Physicians Blueprint podcast, where we help physicians decrease stress and generate wealth in this crazy world we're living in. And today, we've got a really special episode, something that I've been looking forward to for a long time, something that I think is needed in this world and needed especially in the Haitian world. I've got my buddies here who've all been on the podcast, except for my best friend, Philip, who hasn't been on the podcast. First time. But I've always wanted to have a reason to get him on. And so today's the reason. And so why are we here? So what are we going to learn and what are we going to hear on this podcast? Well, we're going to try to figure out, or at least share, the keys to success in medicine, in business, and finance with first and second generation immigrants to the U.S. We'll learn struggles that many Haitians face, and we'll also understand why you can't believe everything you hear on the media or in the media. You hear lessons from physicians and professionals who struggle to accomplish their goals. And so how are we going to do this? We're going to talk. We're going to have stories. We're going to share conversations. Because I talk a lot, and I talk a lot on this podcast, I wanted to have someone else talk. And Philip is the first person that came to mind because, not because you're a talker, Philip.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah. No, but because...
is that a compliment? Or is that...
No, Philip actually was a broadcast journalist major. And so you're used to speaking and you're used to sharing stories and conversations. So I thought it'd be great to have Philip, my best friend, my brother. I've known him for a long time, and we can go over that story as well. The 4th grade story. Was it 4th grade or 3rd grade?
45 years ago.
It's the 4th grade story. So yeah, Philip Francis, PhD. So he's the only, well, no, I guess, Faro, you're a
non-MD.
You're a JD, doctorate. So we all have doctorates there. So we all have some kind of doctorate degree. And so Brunel Joseph, who's also been on the podcast, he was on episode 41, talked about his experience.
So,
and Jude Farley Pierre, another Jude Pierre.
Yeah.
Episode, what was it? What was your episode? 19.
I think it
was a 19. That's correct. And Laurent Pierre, my brother, who's not a doctor, and actually he doesn't have a doctorate.
That's right.
So,
cool.
Should you be the odd man out here?
Should you
Clearly the odd man out here.
You must know somebody very important, Marias.
There you go.
I know people. He's related to me.
I know people.
I know that if I didn't do this and include him because he's been on the podcast, he'd have some trouble.
I would. I would let.
And I'm already in trouble with my other sibling.
Oh, yeah, this morning here we'll talk about that.
We'll talk about that also. And Faro has been on the podcast recently, episode 118, talking about money. And so today we're going to try to have some fun. And so we'll start with Philip, co-host of the Independent Physicians Blueprint this time. So tell us about who you are and what you do.
All right. I am Philip Francis, and Francis Philip Francis. I think and I'm going to be interested to find out from you guys, I think there's 3 ways that we're connected to Haiti. We've got some of us who may have been born in Haiti and then moved here. And then we have some of us who were born in the States, moved to Haiti, and then moved back to the States. And then we have some who may have never, weren't born in Haiti, but were raised in a Haitian household. So I fall in the second group. My parents came to New York, met each other in New York, got married, had a lot of kids. And then when I was 9, we moved to Haiti. I did elementary school and middle school in Haiti until I left and moved in. My parents split up, and then moving in with my mother starting in 9th grade. So that got me back to the States. We were in Miami at the time. This takes us to the story. So I got to Haiti in 4th grade, large family, and there were 6 of us. I guess 5 of us or 4 of us were attending the same school at that point. So first day of 4th grade, Jude, you can refresh my memory, but I think I was a little late.
Yes, you were late.
Oh, late.
You were late.
I walked into the first day of school late, but I made it. And we met on that day, 4th grade, August of 1980. So last month actually made it 45 years from the time we first met.
And I remember the day. I remember that day till this day because first thing, you introduced yourself. I had just moved to Haiti at the time, and I knew no one at the school, Quisqueya Christian School. So I'm going to call out, shout out to QCS. So he shows up late and says, everyone's saying where they're from. And I'm from New York. I was like, oh, I'm from New York. And this guy must be cool. So,
and he was.
So that's how we met.
Yeah. So that was it. So I ended up back in the States. Did high school in Miami. Did my undergraduate work at FIU in Miami. Shout out to FIU. Then I did my master's work at the University of Florida. Did that double master's and a specialist degree at UF. Then I ended up going to Charlotte and ended up doing a doctorate of education at UNC Charlotte in education. From a work perspective, I was an educator. Jude mentioned earlier that I was in journalism. That was my undergraduate degree. Started, goodness, just the time that's gone by so quickly. But I did an internship at CBS in Miami as I was finishing my bachelor's degree in broadcast journalism. And at the end of that internship, I realized that it wasn't something that I had in my heart long term. Originally, I'm like, I'm going to do sports broadcasting. I'm going to be on ESPN. Then you do the internship and you see the business from the inside out. And I'm like, nah, this isn't what I want to do. So long story short, I ended up substitute teaching at my alma mater, my old high school, which then I ended up having a love for teaching. And I ended up staying in education for 25 years. Was a teacher, a school counselor, an assistant principal, a high school principal, a district administrator, and an adjunct college professor over the course of a 25-year span of time. Then about 7 years ago, I left education to start a logistics company. And I have been in the logistics business now for the last 7 years. And again, Jude and I ended up living 12 minutes from each other after all of the journey of 45 years. So,
And he came to every single one of my graduations. Like I went at every single one of his graduations.
Should I comment that?
Yeah, maybe I might have missed one.
I did. I made high school graduation.
Say high school?
I made undergrad graduation. I made Albert Einstein.
Yeah, Einstein. That's cool.
Yeah, I think you might have. Did you? I'm not going to call you out right now, but I don't think.
No, you can call me out. I know that
You didn't make any of the graduations.
No, I made a couple.
Did you?
Yes. I made a couple. I don't remember which ones. You've been on the podcast. If you've heard the podcast before, so I'd love to hear your origin story again.
Certainly. Bruno Joseph Kwame, a physician. I fall into maybe the second category. I was born and raised in Haiti. Lived there till my late teenage years. Moved there when I was 19 years old. Lived in South Florida with my family. Then ended up going to UF majored in human nutrition and agriculture. Then went to med school. Did part of my schooling, my med school in St. Martin. Then moved to England. Did my rotation in England for the last 2 years. My clinical rotations. Moved back to the U.S., went to SIU, Southern Illinois University in Illinois for 4 years, where I did my residency and fellowship in sports medicine. I've been here in the greater Tampa area for about 12 to 15 years. Time flies. When I moved from Illinois, I actually worked at Access, Dr. Jude and I met for work together in the same practice before I took over another practice here in Tampa, and I've been here since.
So when you left Haiti, How old were you when you left Haiti?
I was 19.
You were 19, so you had already graduated high school.
No, I was not. So my story is a little bit interesting. So when I left Haiti, again, we're earlier talking about all these issues with Haiti, with schooling, still shut down, and there are some issues where when I got here, I was 19, but I was not done with high school yet. So that when I came in, I had to make that decision. Family was like, just take a GED, and again, coming in without people that were here before me that could guide me to the process, I was just going through it and just learning as I go. And my sister, who knew that I wanted to go to med school, said, you probably want to go to high school anyway just to get your high school diploma because that looks better when you apply to schools. So I went and did the GED anyway, got my GED and still went to high school, although I was one of the older kids there. Still went to high school and get my diploma. So I kind of wasted a couple of years there. But I did make sure during that time, I also enrolled in a community college down south and Fort Lauderdale and took some college courses. So I wasn't just going to high school. I was going to kind of do an enrollment type thing. That's that story there.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's going to tie into some of the things that we want to talk about in the podcast too.
Sure.
Because education, is going to be the centerpiece, I think, for this episode. And Jude Farley.
Lord. Yeah. So let me see. I fall into that category. I was born in Brooklyn. My parents shipped me to Haiti. I think I was like maybe 9 months old or something like that. So went to...
It was that bad, huh?
I was exiled. So obviously grew up in Haiti, went to school. I didn't do high school. I just did elementary because we came back. I think we lived with my grandparents and they started getting older and sick. So moved back in, I think, 1982. And that's when we came back to Brooklyn, went to school in Brooklyn, college. And I wanted to go to med school, but actually I didn't want to go to med school. Actually, I wanted to go to law school. But my parents were like, you should be a doctor. If you can't be a lawyer. I'm not really sure why, but somehow that decision was made. So I applied to med school. I got into Meharry and Albany Med. And somehow I'm not really sure that something happened. I don't know why I didn't go there. But my sisters, I have twin sisters also who ended up, I took a gap year. That's what happened. I wanted to chill for a little bit and just work and just literally drive around. That's what my friends and I did. We drove from wherever Greek Fest was happening. We were driving there, driving to Miami, South Beach, just to go and party, just to say. So I took a gap year. My parents didn't like that too much. And so my sisters went to podiatry school and they're like, yo, you should do it. It's great. And I'm like, oh, okay, sure. I applied and I didn't really like it, but I did it anyway because I figured it's just something to do. And then here I am, podiatry school, did residency, trauma centers in the Bronx, Manhattan, and I was in East Meadow, Long Island. And then 9/11 happened. So, yeah, everything just crashed in New York. Nothing was happening. Couldn't get Medicare number, couldn't get your license. So I ended up having to hustle and find states with reciprocity. So I didn't have to sit for a whole new set of boards. So Florida and Illinois were the two states. So I chose Florida because I figured I didn't want to deal with any winters. Lo and behold, I ended up in the smallest place in the world where I've never even heard of, Brooksville, Florida. I'm not even sure. I've never even heard of it. And all of a sudden, there are newspaper articles saying, welcome, Dr. Jude Pierre. I'm like, whoa, this is really small. This is real small. I was like, what is that? I'm like, what's going on? I'm like, hey, seriously? And all of a sudden you have there are banners on the Spring Hill Drive. Welcome, Dr. Jude Pierre. I'm like, man, this is, I told my parents, this place is really small. And that as a quick market, but then all of a sudden I found out it wasn't me. It was this other guy. I'm like, what? Another Jude Pierre? How? And of all places, Spring Hill, Florida. So needless to say, obviously, I was curious to find out who this guy was and figure out his story. And I called him, say, hey, yo, Pierre, I want to meet you. It's like, yeah. Jude Pierre, seriously? It's then he starts giving me these 20 questions on the phone. He's like, where are you from? I'm like, born in New York. No. Seriously? It's like, yeah. what kind of car did you drive? Like, Nissan Sentra. Oh my God, me too. I was like, what undergrad did you go to? I was like, St. Francis. Like, no, I went to Howard. I was like, okay. He said, what's your dad's name? I was like, Antoine. It's like, no. I'm like, why? It's like, my middle name's Antoine. I'm like, oh, Lord. He goes, wait, your wife's name's not Christine, is it? I'm like, no. No. So anyway, long story short, we met, we became friends. I was actually working for a different group at the time, and Drew convinced me to join Access, and I've been there ever since. So that's my story.
Non-doctor.
The non-doctor on the long care. So Laurent Pierre, it's been an interesting journey. My journey falls into the category of born in Brooklyn, raised in Haiti, and so we moved to Haiti after first grade in New York, and so we moved. I was in second grade, and Melissa, your sister, was in my class, and so it was like a joint fate because Melissa and I became buds, similar to Philip and Jude, and we were in the same school. So it's rare that you're gonna find people who are in the same school who spend that much time together, from elementary school, middle school, high school together, and same circle of friends. And so the transition was interesting because what our parents did is they brought us to Haiti the summer before, and we spent the summer going to the beach and visiting a family out in the countryside. We saw a donkey and goats for the first time. So you look at these Brooklyn kids going out into the country and people climbing trees to get coconuts for you and mangoes and all the stuff you never saw. And it was such an experience. And so when it came time to really move into Haiti, we were ready because we're just like, the beaches, this is how we're going to be lit. This is awesome. And that's kind of, that was our introduction into Haiti. And so
They bamboozled us.
Yeah,
that first year after when we moved in, it was all about school, work.
And I don't think we went to the beach.
I think we saw the beach once a month, but we got sucked.
Yeah, you got sucked. It was a slow play.
It was a slow play. We were like, this is great. Because remember, New York, Coney Island, that's what our beach looked up. Coney Island and the boardwalk and the seagulls. And you go to Haiti and it's this amazing tropical situation. We spent the whole time at Quisqueya, and came here. And so Jude is 2 years older than me. And so he went to Howard. And so my parents said, you can go to any college you want as long as it's where your brother is. That was the rule. So it's like, I didn't really have a choice. So I'm like studying for the SATs, making sure I can get in, because I think it was Tuskegee and a couple other places. And we ended up in Howard. And so that's how I came back. And we spent we were together for 2 years at Howard, and he went to med school and I stayed back in DC. And so my undergrad was in international business, and I met my wife there, and she was in film school. And turns out Philip knew my wife. Went to undergrad together at FIU. It's like a whole Kevin Bacon connection here, all completely. And so we got married in DC, and our daughter was born, and we moved to Florida because Jude was doing his residency. And so, but before we moved to Florida, she was in law school, second year, and decided she didn't want to do it anymore and came to business school with me. And so she got her MBA in marketing. I got mine in finance because I thought I wanted to be a CFO. That was going to be my origin story. I wanted to run finance and be in the financial area. So I worked at the World Bank after school, and Capitol Hill, different places. And after I spent a couple years in between finance and IT, I made a right turn to IT. And for the last 3 decades, I've been in technology. So software companies, Microsoft, IBM, different companies there. And that's what I've been doing for the last 20, 30 years. And so it brought us back to Florida. We moved to Florida in 99, and we've been here ever since. And so that's my origin story. And so Jude and I stick together pretty much wherever he is. I kind of tend to follow around, and it's kind of good.
You have no choice.
I had no choice. It was like they were said. It was said. Yeah, they literally said you can go anywhere you want as long as it's where your brother was. That was it. That was the rule. And so that's how we ended up at Howard.
Nice.
And so that's pretty much how my journey started.
Farouk, tell us about you.
Yeah, so my origin story, I'm actually in the third group, born here, but but I was born in Brooklyn, which around nothing but Haitian. So I feel like I was there, but born and raised in Brooklyn. Then, like as I was saying earlier, went from Brooklyn to Long Island. Then my parents moved to Florida, and then now I'm in Florida. So I kind of did the only stop that I missed was Boston. But the Haitians are. So, but other than that, I did the typical migration. But yeah, so went to college in the city, NYU, loved living in New York City. Then from there, I did not go to med school. My younger brother went to med school, but I did go to law school. I went to law school in Louisiana. And I always say that you can't get any more different than Brooklyn to Baton Rouge, Louisiana. But that was a great experience, one from NYU to the Southern, which you may speak HBCU experience. So that was great. Did that for a little while in there. And then coincidentally ended up in finance. Like life just takes turn. All good stories start with a girl. And I kind of chased a girl who ended up becoming my wife. So the story ended up what?
There you go.
So that was the good point. But I remember I got introduced to finance early, and I had a background in finance because being in a school like NYU in a city like New York, the dream is to go to Wall Street and do that kind of stuff. But I ended up going the retail side. Somebody said, hey, have you ever considered financial advising? So I got in at Morgan Stanley. And if you guys saw that movie, Pursuit of Happiness, I would say that you get the job and then they dump a bunch of study materials in front of you and say, hey, your only job is to pass these licensing exams. And if you don't, they usher you out. You only get one shot to do it. So that was a grind, but just doing that. And then kind of been doing that for a while, worked at a couple different places. And then recently, partner and owner in a boutique investment firm, offices in North Carolina and here in the Tampa area.
If you've been listening to the podcast, you might have heard the story, but my origin story is really similar to Philip's, obviously. Born in New York, raised in Haiti, came back for college and medical school, played soccer a little bit at Howard University in Division I. My claim to fame is that I actually played with Shaka Hislop, who played for the Trinidad national team in the World Cup a couple World Cups ago. Haiti was always a place I thought I was going to go back to. I think everyone knew that because my parents were still there when I was in medical school. I always thought that I was going to go back to Haiti 6 months out of the year, go back, serve the population. And it just didn't happen. Things got worse and worse. And just when you think it can't get any worse, it continues to get worse in Haiti. And so one of the things that I wanted to do with this podcast is really help the world understand that, it's not all about, what's happening in Haiti now. There are positive things happening to Haitians in other countries, especially, in the U.S. And I think it's rooted in education. As you can hear, all of us are highly educated. And one of the things my parents always instilled in us was education, education, education. And my mom also always said that you're going to go high places. You're going to get to top of the mountain. You're going to be looking down. And I never understood what she was saying. But what she was saying is instilling that thought, that desire, that a thing that she wanted for me was for us to, as her children, reach the highest level. And so that's what we want, I think, in this group, is for Haitians that are living in Haiti right now, that are struggling, that are listening to people like Barbecue, who is terrorizing the country. There is hope, but that hope really starts with education, educating yourself and really putting education first before everything. So before we get into the meat of the episode, I wanted everyone to share like a positive experience that you've had in Haiti. And if you haven't lived in Haiti, maybe positive experience to a surrogate positive experience maybe to your parents, right, and a negative experience. What have been give me one experience that you could say is...
Yeah, so like I said, I'd never lived in Haiti, but I mean, positive experiences, like I lived in an apartment building in Brooklyn where literally for most of my life, I was around people who lived here for years and never spoke English. Like, so I lived on the 3rd floor. My aunt lived on the 5th floor. Like, it was just like a really small community. In that area, we went to a Haitian bakery. Like, everything we did, we went to church that was in Creole. So I had a village, if you will, like a positive experience. And then my mother she's a social worker. She worked for the Flatbush Haitian Center. All she did was serve her community. And part of one of the things she did is that she would take kids out, and some of my fondest memories and other kids, we would have exploratory. I mean, that's the first time I've been on a boat. We went to the zoo. We did a bunch of different things just serving the community. And in terms of positive with the country, my parents, even though they lived here, they always spoke about going back. And so they have a home in Haiti. And for up until recently, they would go every year.
Did you go with them?
No, we never went, because it's always funny, because they always felt, and I never understood this, but they felt that it was too dangerous to take my brothers and I, but they were okay going. Like, I don't know, like, you're just like, they would be able to risk anything, but there's like, nah, for my kids, I didn't take them. So yeah. Junior.
So many to pick from. I think that the biggest thing for me growing up in Haiti is seeing how my parents did things beyond what was required. And what I mean by that, not just for us in the family, but at the factory, healthcare, savings accounts, working and paying for the workers' kids' education, their books, their clothes. And these are not things that they had to do. But when I ask them why they're doing it because it's not required, but it's the right thing to do, right? We had doctors come to the factory to come every month to make sure everyone is okay. And anyone who needed medicine, anyone who needed to have healthcare, because there wasn't that infrastructure in the country at that time. And growing up, these are the kind of things I could tell you a dozen stories of those types of things that my parents did. And I kind of tend to pull myself back, because that was something that I think it's part of my DNA, not only watching it, even growing up in New York before we went to Haiti. When people would immigrate from Haiti to New York, my parents' place was kind of like a way station, because people would come and spend 2 or 3 months with us before they were ready to go and have their own apartment or their own place, help them integrate into the States. And so we grew up looking at that. And it wasn't just family. Could be friends of a friend of someone else, but it was that community that you're talking about that you grew up in, and you grew up seeing that, and it becomes a part of who you are. And I think that's, for me, one of the biggest positives, is looking at that and seeing that live, our parents doing that, not because they had to, but because they felt a responsibility that when they came, they had to pave a way for the next group and the next group. And it's kind of like a pay it forward, because guess what? Those people did the same thing as well, opening up their houses, opening up their homes, opening up what they knew, so that next wave and next generation of people would come in. And that just stuck with me. And it's a story I tell my kids all the time about it, because it had that much of an impact and kind of shaped how I move and operate and navigate here in the States.
Let me say, I was really young when I left Haiti. I remember things that it's kind of weird too, because I remember going to school by myself in Haiti. I must have been like 6, 7, or 8, taking the bus or taking the tap to school.
Yeah.
And now, like, look, we've advanced, right? And I wouldn't trust my kid to walk down the block. And that's just the weirdest thing, because, and I think that goes back to your parents. Like, so growing up here, there's this thing, I think they knew that they would be able to navigate whatever came their way, whoever tried to like hustle them or whatever. There's this sense that you get from growing up there that some of those who were born and never lived in Haiti, those who were born in the U.S. probably lack. And that's probably one of the things. And also, you don't want to worry about your kids and all that good stuff. But I remember that. I remember being able to take, to tap to school in the morning. I remember like walking home with my friends and things like that. It was just kind of a different type of thing. And when I came back to New York, I was only allowed to go as far as the front stoop. You couldn't go on the street. You couldn't do anything. It was just like, this is you're supposed to be the rich country, and then you're like not safe here.
Right. And to give our listeners and our viewers a reference point, this was in the 80s. So this isn't too long ago.
No.
So in the 1980s, we had a lot of freedoms that we don't even have in the U.S. And we also had the element of you go out and you're going to meet someone that your parents know.
Oh God, yeah.
If you're in the streets, if you're doing something, before you get home, you're going to get a phone call. I saw your little son doing X, Y, Z. So that's the level of family or how should I say, community that we had in Haiti.
Speaking into Farrell's point also, so they brought that here because we grew up in neighborhoods that were predominantly Haitian.
Yeah.
So I couldn't walk down the block and do something dumb because by the time I got home, I'm already about it. Yeah, and I'm getting in trouble with the neighbor plus. Plus when you get up.
You're getting the belt. You're getting the belt and the
I'm getting
before
something.
you walk in.
Absolutely. Yeah, exactly. So it didn't matter. But the thing is, though, so I don't know about true positive experiences, but the only thing I can honestly say that I am proud of is like I know my dad always wanted to be a doctor, but for some odd reason he couldn't stand the sight of blood. Like he would cut himself and like faint. It was kind of odd. It was absolutely amazing. But super smart. Like he's the guy in his family that everyone knew was going to be the one. Like he was going to be the top. He was the best student. He was that group of kids that went from Haiti to Zaire to teach. And they were part of that group. So my dad had education of the wazoo. So he totally stressed education. But during the earthquakes, as 2010, I know my dad wanted to go. I know he wanted to do something, but he had no idea what he could do. So I felt good being able to go and do something, and help like help my people, like help the Haitian community, because they were sending a bunch of doctors there. We ran into a bunch of people like Doctors Without Borders, people from Texas. They had no idea. They couldn't communicate. So that was a different thing. And, me being a surgeon, we were able to do things that a lot of the folks, they trusted us because we spoke the language. We looked like what they did.
Yeah.
And so it was easier to do things, and we did a lot. I mean, it was just, my specialty is foot and ankle, but when I was down there, there was no scope. I was like suturing up people who had just delivered C-sections and taking out sutures and lacerations in the scalp. I mean, you name it, we did it. And I think the group we went with, they're like, these surgeons, they're crazy. They're doing too much. Like, what do you want? Because I'm there for a limited time. I'm doing as much as I can. I no sleep, lived in scrubs. I can't remember taking a shower, honestly. And think it's just that. But that would probably be my most positive. I mean, it wasn't a positive thing, but it was something I felt good and proud of. It was, I felt like I was representing my family because I know he wanted to be there. So
yeah, positive experience. I can relate to all that. The community. I remember, again, going to school, waking up, your parents, your friends, you just go to school. But in terms of going back, reminiscing, right? I remember I had one summer in Haiti. Again, back in the 80s. I was born in Cap-Haïtien.
Right? I don't know where that's from.
Yeah, in the north part of Haiti, for those who don't know. And my family is from Katimor, which is about 15 minutes drive. It's not that far, but it's from the city to there. It's like in the countryside, right? So one summer we went to the countryside for the whole summer. First time I did that, and they have cousins and they have goats. They have cows. They milk the cow in the morning. So in the morning we will go. They milk the cow, boil the milk, have it with patat, Yep. And then we go to the river, they catch crabs, and then they make, and then in the evening you go back home. That whole experience was so different to me because it was me and my cousin, we're all about the same age at that time, like 14, 13. And I always, when somebody said, go back to Haiti, go back to that positive experience, that summer when I could go and just be free. Yeah, in the summer, you have mangoes, you have everything. Sometimes mangoes aren't just fall out of the tree. That whole, if I could bottle that and go back to that moment, and there was not all that craziness happening right now, now the things that you're hearing, you're seeing, it just.
I think a lot of it is out of desperation too. There is no law or order, and so no one is manning the ship. We're seeing a lot of negativity, and we'll get to that.
I got a quick question before I answer the question. When you guys are talking about New York, am I the only one not born in Brooklyn?
Yeah, I guess so.
Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Queens. I did to say that because I kept on hearing Brooklyn. Or as if it's said properly, it's Brooklyn. Brooklyn. So yes, I'm Queens. I just had to make sure that I was getting a little alone.
As a matter of fact, I think some Haitians thought that U.S. was Brooklyn. That was
Just like they think
so I'm going
Miami
to
is
Brooklyn.
Florida.
So I'm going to piggyback because I think it sounds like we all had similar experiences with the growing up piece in Haiti. And I think a lot of that shaped who I became when I came back to the States. Again, this is 1980. For me, it's 1980 to 1985. And at the age of 10, you're kind of trusted and you feel free and empowered to do anything that you want to do within reason. Now, my kids, when I tell them some of my stories, the first thing they say is, Dad, there were no rules in Haiti. They have no rules in Haiti. We're riding motorcycles at 10. I know how to drive at 12. And we're doing that thing. They're like, you guys could do anything you wanted?
Yeah.
And I was like, within reason. I said, but there was a method to the madness.
That's right.
And it was part of growing up.
Yep.
So again, leaving my house in Paco and being able to take Wulib, you're hitchhiking, you take Hakamen, you take the top, to end up in a totally different part of the city to get to your house, to get to Jean-Claude's house, whoever it was. And my parents would just be like, I'll see you when you get home. And it wasn't a big deal.
And there were no cell phones.
No cell phones.
No cell phones. Landlines.
When they worked.
The rotary.
Rotary landlines when they worked.
So it's those 5 years, and again, I went back and forth after I left, so I was spending more time in Haiti. But I think just doing those elementary and middle school years in Haiti kind of helped shape who I became. And when I got to the States, I wasn't just prepared. I was prepared.
That's right.
I was ready to go. Whatever Miami was going to throw at me, I was like, I'll take what you got, because I felt like I was prepared. And even getting there, when we all got there, there were only 2 American schools at the time, unless I'm missing one, but there were those Union and Cascade.
Union School of Cascade.
Those two English-speaking schools, and our parents opted for the smaller Christian school. So when we talk about how we all knew each other's families coming up, it's because there was only one class of each grade. There was one second grade class.
That's right.
There was one fourth grade class. There was one of everything. So every year that you'd move up in a grade, everybody moved with you. So you were with the same people every year, all the time. So that's how friends became family.
That's right.
In the time that we spent in Haiti. Yeah. And so that was something that I truly appreciated in terms of how it shaped me, my friendships, the importance that I gave to how I defined friendships and what it meant to be that guy for other people. So again, coming to the States, I feel like we were well prepared in our school. I'm going to give a shout out to Cascade. When I got here for high school, I got here as a 9th grader. I don't want to say that I walked through high school, but I'm going to say that I feel like I was super prepared based on the education that I got in Haiti. Which it was just that if you guys can, we were at the same school.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But I just feel like I got here like hyper prepared for what the public school system had to offer here. Again, not that the public school system here was not good. It just was that we were just that well prepared when we got here. So I appreciated that. I appreciated the experience. And that you mentioned education. My parents always pushed school. Do what you can. My dad once told me that circumstances can happen and you can lose a business overnight. He said, but if you have this, you're going to rebuild another one. It's all in what you keep in your head. What you learn and how you can go ahead and access something new if need be. So my parents pushed education. I think that's why I kept on going. Some of my friends and siblings used to joke that I was a forever student. I was always in school. I was always working, but always in school at the same time. So that's the positive memory. Did you say a negative one too? It looks like everyone might have skipped that piece.
I think we all skipped it.
It skipped the negative, but that's okay. We can. Why don't you?
For me, it was having come here in '85, in '86. I feel like the coup d'état, that was the point where everything just started going downhill. I believe it was February of '86. February. Yeah. And then things just changed. So I was going back and visiting, and I'm just watching the things in the country just start to deteriorate. And again, I'm a teenager at this point, but I remember what it was like when I was there. And as I'm getting older, I'm just watching things change and never for the better. I feel like everything was going down. So that's the negative, because, would I have ever moved back permanently as an adult? I don't know that I was that guy for that. Would I have spent a few months out of the year? I would have. Full time, I kind of built things here, and it's hard to take what you built in the States or whatever country you end up settling in that's not Haiti, and then say, hey, I'm going to go back and I'm going to leave everything that I know and I'm going there. Then it also occurred to me that our parents did that. They left everything they knew in Haiti to move over here. So it could work both ways.
That's right.
But that's, I guess, would be my negative, is just having watched the last 4 decades that there has been an improvement. Actually, if anything, it's just gotten worse.
And for my positive is probably a little bit negative because I just remember not having much in Haiti in terms of toys and things to do. We weren't one of the families that had the PlayStations or Atari. It wasn't PlayStation.
Atari 2600. Atari 2600. And then 5200.
And then television.
And the television. That's right.
You had both, didn't you?
Over time, I never had the Atari.
Okay.
We did get into television.
So we had no toys. We had no devices. So we had to make our own toys. I remember making toys with, I forgot what you call those things.
Okay, it was the thing with the hanger. Oh, the hand and the wheel. And you'd have to build it. And you're running around, you're all flying kites.
We used to have kite
The big gundu. Yeah, absolutely.
So people have no idea what kite fights are, but in Haiti, we put blades.
Razor blades. Yeah,
The razor blades at the tail.
So you get cut them off, yeah.
And so we'd fly the kite. Same kite in front of you. You pull a kite wire to cut the tail so that they can lose it.
Like kite dueling in the air.
So
kite dueling, and your hands are all cut up and red because you're...
So yeah, we didn't have much, but we made do with what we...
I'd argue that was more fun than the tricks that you said that you had.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, you know what you're missing?
Playing marbles.
Oh God, marbles.
Yeah.
We were all in Knuckles before school. We're all playing the marbles.
Playing dominoes. What was the game with the team we used to play with? The was a game with goat bones. It was sled.
Well, but I never played it.
Yeah.
And we haven't talked about the lack of electricity. 16 hours without electricity from 1 to 5 a.m. Sometimes. Some neighborhoods, depends.
Blackout. So yeah, those are some of the experiences that we've had. And so seeing what's happening in Haiti now is just ridiculous. I mean, we can show you. I mentioned this, so I don't know if I'll let you talk a little bit while I pull this up. But I'm going to pull up the video that
what the irony of this though is, so listening to all our stories, it seems like our lives were literally somewhat parallel and overlapped. It seems like we were all there around the same time.
Yeah.
In the 80s, right? But we're all remembering a lot of good things. But one of the things that we failed to mention was that we were living under a dictatorship at that time.
Till 85, till 87.
Right. Exactly. So we have good memories while things were supposedly really bad. So that goes back to what Jude was saying about not believing what you hear in the media, because they're saying, oh yeah, it's hellish down there, but we all have like positive experiences, right?
Sure.
I mean, you're talking about we were all going places,
learning how to drive with no internet.
Getting on the bus. There was a bus, Conatra. Remember Conatra?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That big bus.
The big bus. There was one going down Delma. I mean, we had all that. There was infrastructure. There was law and order.
I live under both. So 86, I was in Haiti. I didn't live in Haiti until 94, late 93. So that 86 coup d'etat, I remember that vividly. When we're talking about bad experiences, before actually the government decided to take off. I mean, there were tear gas.
Mm-hmm.
They would shoot tear gas in your house.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to come up with all kind of stuff to kind of, we used to use lemon to kind of put it on, clear it. So I live under both. I mean, before the coup d'etat, obviously things will come, but if it was the dictatorship, they were doing things that were horrible, or we were viewed about it because we were young. We didn't
know what was going on. We were just living the life.
But through the coup d'etat, it was rough, and after that, things
it just went downhill after that.
Yeah, and so we live in sometimes what I feel is an alternate reality.
So
and so what one may say is up. Someone may say it's down. It's blue is red. So, you take what's going on now, and I'm surprised you guys hadn't seen this video.
I have not seen.
But I'll I'll share it with you now, and we'll comment on it. This is the gang leader barbecue who's dancing to music in Haiti just a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, come on. I see no changes. Wake up in the morning and I ask myself, it's life or maybe should I ask myself? I'm tired of being going in the world. I'm black, my stomach hurts, so I'm looking for a place to start. Cops give a damn about a evil. Put the kid that kill a nigga, he's a hero. Give the quack to the kids who they have gas. One less every month from the welfare.
It's almost too stupid and sick to watch.
That is insane.
But this is a gang leader that supposedly is wanting to help liberate Haiti.
From what?
From
himself?
What are your thoughts, Burrow?
I don't even know where to start. I mean, that just looked crazy to me. This is my first time even seeing the video, and I wasn't familiar with him, but I mean, that just seems gimmicky. It seems corny. So I don't know what his goal was, because if I'm trying to be an influencer, that does not motivate the younger generation, I don't think, at all. So I don't know.
I think you give him too much credit. I don't even think he knows what it is.
Well, yeah, I don't know, but I mean, he's on social media.
He's on Instagram.
Yeah.
Oh,
and he picked the Tupac song, which is, that's
A struggle song.
yeah, it's a struggle song. I mean, it's just, everything was just weird.
This is wrong.
And I've seen a couple of his videos online, and really, he's portraying himself as a Robin Hood for the poor, except his actions are saying different.
What?
The destruction of property, the killing of people, and all of the things happening there is not helping any Haitians, actually.
You're wearing Timberlands, you're holding 2 cell phones, and with a gold chain around your neck, and then singing American rap song. That doesn't translate to Robin Hood at all.
And so you have people, and you have people globally looking at this saying, okay, is this what it means to be a Haitian?
Wow.
And is this person a representation of the Haitian culture? And the answer is emphatically no. But yet, because of social media now, that's what people will see. A lot of people, they don't read, they don't look at the news, they look at Instagram as their news source.
Oh, yeah.
So they'll take this and they'll multiply it around. And so for all the people that are doing good in the country, you're not going to see them. You're going to see this
out there,
right? And so when I saw that the first time, the first thing that came to mind is you have a lot of folks even here in the States and around the world who don't want to acknowledge that their Haitian heritage. Yeah. They're embarrassed of Haiti. They're embarrassed they came from Haiti. I'm the opposite. Like, within 5 minutes of meeting me, you're going to know I'm Haitian, right? Whether it's at work, whether it's at the Publix or whatnot, you will know, right? But then it's that lack of connection, or people want to lose that connection. And there's so much in Haiti's history, Haiti's culture, and what we were just talking about of what our experience has been that doesn't get put out into the open. But now we have to contend with something like this as a representation of who we are as Haitians.
Let me just say, I think that even when I was coming up, your point, it wasn't something, because the media that we were fed is that Haiti was not, it was a poor country. There was nothing to be proud of, to be from there. The thing I think with guys like him, he understands the power of media.
Correct.
And then what people would say, oh, hey, don't listen to what you see on the TV. Don't listen to what the Haiti's really like this. But they dominate the media. Unless we start putting positive messages out there, you don't have any competing. Now, I had to, as somebody, like, I love listening to everybody's story here. I was born and raised here. So I remember there was like a shift that happened where I had to be intentional. When I was in college, I remember joining HASA, the Haitian American Students Association. And that was good. I became the vice president of that club. And then I met other people who like had very fond memories. They would talk about Haiti from a positive standpoint. Like, I'm like, man, that was really cool. But they understood how messaging is important. And sometimes I think that there's a lot of good Haitians that they'll say like, those people are crazy, power keeper, don't listen to them. But they're the only ones putting the message out there. So then,
yeah, that's what you got.
Yeah, that's what you got.
Yeah, but the thing is also, as far as media is concerned, a lot of people want to see that. They want to see that bad side, that negative side, because they they love that. They eat that up. They thrive on that. They don't want to see that good. They don't want to see this. Because this is not the norm for them, right? But it's the norm for us because this is what we grew up with. Every single person in this room is stressed how much education played a role in their life and how their parents were strong influences in their life. But that's not what they want to hear. They want to hear that, Haiti's a place or so on. I mean, that's what they want to see. So you can't undo something that's ingrained in someone. Like, they're trained. This is what they have to. This is what they want to see. Yeah. I mean, the message has to be strong, absolutely, and it starts like this. It starts with this, us. Yeah. And what we tell our kids, and what they're gonna keep going into, and this is how we do this. But the fact is, we don't know how long it's gonna take for that message to actually become mainstream. Yeah. I mean, I was fortunate enough to take my kids to Haiti.
Yeah, and I don't think this is going to be able to. This is not lasting. This can't last.
This is just a fad.
So this is just
it's a fad. But it starts with us, I mean, like my kids have seen Haiti, right? We've been to the Dominican Republic. They've seen it. They know what it's like. So there's no illusion. They know. They've seen the good stuff. They've seen the not so good stuff. But they know this is where you're from. This is your gene. This is your DNA. This is it.
What do you think?
Listen, sometimes honestly, I feel helpless. It's like, what do you do? We talked about the education. I mean, I grew up, big family, 10 of us. Everybody was into education. That's how you're going to get somewhere. What education are the kids in Haiti getting right now? How are we going to get from where we are, right? So because even when we were there, it wasn't great in terms of we have to pay for school, the public schools, or teachers didn't get paid and they stopped teaching. So now it's even worse. So what I fight, like my battle is like in my head is like, what are we going to do? How is 5 years from today, we are going to be better than today? I don't know the answer to that.
I think one of the things, I'll share a quick story. I met someone on Twitter of all places, or X, a school in Gungwaf that has 450 students, and they reached out. There's something I posted. They reached out and said, "Hey, we're having the Flag Day, but we don't have enough to go and put something together. And so, could you help us?" And I was like, "Oh, okay." And it was, at the time, I don't know how much it was, but I donated. And 3 years later, I'm still donating. Turns out they have a whole organization. They're feeding people. They're clothing them. They're buying books for parents. They're actually paying tuition. And I share that story because, to me, I thought it was a small thing, but when they started sending me pictures and posting it on LinkedIn, they're saying, "Here's what this did." And they're actually saying, I was like, no, don't post anything about it. Because I kind of like to stay behind the scenes and anonymous, but it's just one person doing that. But imagine if each person went and did that, not to just blindly dump money or whatnot, but interact and find out what they needed, what they were lacking. That's where the change happens, because these 450 kids are going to become adults soon, right? And imagine right now, the message they sent to me a couple of weeks ago is that they're fighting to keep these kids in school and not with the gangs who are trying to recruit them to give them guns to go run terror in the neighborhood. That's what they're fighting right now.
What's the name of you have done?
Instruction Civique et Morale.
Okay.
Is a Twitter feed. And these guys are doing it. Like, they're there literally combating what's happening in Haiti right now. They have a whole school, kids, and you could see it. It's out there on X. And I'm continuing to do it, not for notoriety, but it's the right thing to do, because guess what? If I don't do it or someone else doesn't do it, this school is going to shut down. And guess where they're going to go?
To the
gangs.
So there's a young lady, I think her name is Gertrude. She's a UF grad who moved to Haiti and she has a whole project similar, educating mostly ladies. And I forgot the name of her handle. I looked that up. Similar work. Yeah, she's doing great work. So, and those kind of things we need to
exactly. And it doesn't have to be huge scale.
Yeah,
but it starts with one, then another, and then it keeps going and going and going. And I think that there's a level of abandonment that's going on in Haiti, because everyone's like, it's all done in Haiti. And so people literally are turning their backs. And guess what? When they feel that way, they are going to easily turn to something that they would not normally do, to eat, to feed their family, to protect their family. that's literally the phase that folks are in right now.
Well, to add to that, my aunt, actually, she lives in Canada. She lives in Montreal. She sent me this thing from, she's actually part of an organization, and the acronym is GRAHN. So they actually started a school in Akin, which is the South, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So they actually have this. They're supporting all these kids. They're putting them through school. And she asked me to be a part of it. When she found out I was actually doing my master's, she put me in touch with one of the physicians, Dr. Atema. And I'm supposed to talk to him because now that I'm done, because he asked me, well, what's your plan? I said, well, having a master's in health management. So everyone wanted to know why after all this time. And I even asked myself why, because it was grueling. I don't know how adults go back to school and still have family and full-time job. That's absolutely suicidal. But what I was thinking is, and this is a sad thing, because the thing that led me to do this is because I had a disagreement with the chief medical officer, the CEO of, because I went to him, I had a meeting with him, and I wanted him to start paying the podiatrist for taking calls, because, I'm doing things, I even told you, there was a good chance I wasn't going to make it to this, because I had some guy had his foot I was going to have to amputate. So he didn't feel like there was value in what we do. And so he didn't want us to get paid to take calls, which I thought was ridiculous. But again, I wasn't fighting for me. I'm fighting for the young folks that are coming up, right? So I said, okay, fine. So it's one of those things, or if you can't beat them, join them. So I figure, all right, so if I get a master's, I'm going to be able to sit at the table. I'm going to have to open up some doors, right? So with that, also, I wanted to see if I can be part of the conversation in restoring the healthcare system in Haiti. And this is how I wanted to do it. Again, it's a slow crawl, and I'm learning things now. And all this stuff's probably going to change in the next few years. But at least I'm at the forefront. I'm learning more so that I can go back. And again, like Phil, I'm not sure if I'm going to make my Haiti move long term, but I definitely want to go back frequently to contribute to this, to have to be part of that conversation, the healthcare reform, establishing healthcare, establishing everything, blockchain, in order to, make sure people have the whole line of, things that they need. There are so many things that I've learned in this whole master's program that I think has me prepared to take on that next challenge in my life. Because I'm not going to do this forever, this podiatry thing, all right? And then, I don't know about you guys, we're all doctors, except, but a retired doctor is useless. You don't know how to do anything else. You don't know anything else. You're just, that's it. Once you start being a doctor, okay, you have the title, but you're useless. So
you can't say that.
But not completely useless. You're not because you actually have other ventures, right? But most of those guys who just devote their lives to medicine, that's it. Once they're done, that's it. They're done. I see them. I see a lot of them come to my office. They're retired, and now they're they're coming in.
Don't name any names, please.
I'm not going to name names, but they're coming in and they're living their life, whatever. But having a master's, to me, allows me to, when I retire, to shift.
Yeah.
And I want to be able to create opportunities for myself in order to continue this journey. I like what I do, but I don't like doing the daily grind. You know what I mean? The hospitals, seeing the patients every day, and I want to do it differently. I want to step into the administrative side and see how I can help change healthcare from a doctor's perspective, not from a CEO perspective. Some guy who's never been to med school, who knows nothing and just punches numbers, and he's telling you this is how things have to be, but you have no idea.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be part of the conversation. That's where we're going to start. So I'm going to get in touch with this doctor, because he has this organization and they're doing things.
Yeah.
So I'm going to tell him, I'm ready, Put me in the game, coach.
Yeah, I think that's how we need to approach it. I think we need to figure out what we can do individually to help organizations that are already doing things in Haiti. And also maybe even talk to our representatives here and say, hey, here are a bunch of professionals. We have a group of professionals here that are Haitian American professionals that have a voice and that has gone through the steps to come to the States, to educate themselves and know the country, know what the country was like and where it could go. But it really will require a concerted effort from a lot of professionals who can put the pressure on the right people to make the changes. So
the Haitian diaspora is really big. It's large.
very powerful.
It's very powerful. It's very large. Here,
We get
Canada.
a lot of money. A
Absolutely.
lot of money is transferred to Haiti from the diaspora.
Absolutely.
It's at least $2 billion
For
Yep.
sure.
per year.
Yep.
I'm sure that's maintaining the country too. I mean, as you guys may know.
Sure. Well, now with all this immigration stuff, with the, revoking the whole thing with the immigrants and sending Haitians back and rolling back some of those, asylum protection that they had, that's gonna be an issue.
Yeah, and the question is, how far are they going to go? Are they going to open up portals for people to reapply? Because you can send people back, but are we allowing people to come back in a legal way? Are we creating websites for people to legally come?
It doesn't seem to be the case at this point. Right now, it's just a matter of it seems like a
removal.
a purging, a cleansing.
Yeah, I agree.
And it doesn't seem right because, like, you're right. Okay, fine. If you came illegally, we're going to send you back, but we have to create a way for you to come back
Right.
illegally.
But when you close the embassy, and you say things are better in Haiti, when people are shooting down planes or shooting at planes, I don't know if you heard of that news.
No, I heard of that one.
Yeah, they can't fly into Port-au-Prince till next year.
Yeah, I heard that. Pakistan, for some reason, seems to be devoid of all this nonsense,
Yeah. So what's that all about?
Fingers crossed.
I think Philip was going to jump in here.
I was going to jump in because I was thinking as you guys
sorry.
were talking about the diaspora and about the amount of money that's going back to Haiti. That's all well and good, but the money's going back to whom?
To individuals.
Okay. And then they're using that money to survive on elevated prices of the most essential of items. So we're helping folks to survive, but we're not helping them live. Yeah, does that make sense? Like, they're helping them survive, but you're not helping them live. So the question then becomes, is it just about sending more money to Haiti, or is it about changing the culture of what's happening there to create independence for the individuals so that the billions of dollars that you guys mentioned that are sent are then generated within the country by those that are now capable?
It's absolutely the latter.
I was just about to say that, and that's one of the frustrations, because even like younger Haitian Americans who feel a tie and want to do something, money's one aspect, but if there's no infrastructure,
Correct.
correct.
This is a flashlight.
That's when you get because you can't throw good after bad.
Yeah.
So
No.
it's just like, and you're not gonna. It's not like it's not like people having up so much that they can just throw money and not worry about it. Like, I can just tell you, like, for my parents, even when they go back to their small town, they literally say that, they expect to go and give people, give.
Yeah.
And it's just like that, just built into it. But it's like, you're not really,
Leaving something sustainable.
yeah, you're not
changing anything. You're not
That's right.
changing. You're not changing anything.
And it's really it's gotten very hard to fish in Haiti, right? So I remember when I was growing up, where you had people at their rice and importing.
We produce there.
We're producing.
Yeah.
It got to a point where we can't produce any rice because no rain, there is no infrastructure,
No irrigation.
Mhm.
Therefore, even places where I was a kid, I used to go, there's water was designed, the rice grows and the water, all those are dry. So now we are importing everything from DR, from other places.
Mhm.
So it's becoming even hard to fish, so to speak, right? So you can't grow anything. So if you send the money and they spend it to buy stuff from DR or from the US, so
The economy never builds.
Never built.
never built. So it's like it's
It's just a maintenance. Like,
So it really boils down to, again, I'm going to beat this horse till it's dead. It's about education. It's about knowing, the people knowing that this is happening and not allowing it to happen. So you as a leader of the country, Haitian leaders, know that you can make a lot of money importing goods to the country, and if you don't really care about what's going on, then you're going to let things go the way they go. But if you, as a population, are educated and are not in the 40% is it 60%? We have a 60% literacy rate in Haiti. 60%. It's the lowest in the Caribbean. Cuba has a literacy rate of 99%. So 40% of our Haitian population can read or write. So when you're looking to advance a population, to bring them usher them in the world where they can do things like have call centers like the Philippines, like Nairobi. I called Amerigas, I think. I called him for customer service. And he had an accent. And usually you hear a Filipino accent or an Indian accent. This guy had an African accent, I could tell. So where are you calling from? I'm calling from Nairobi, Kenya. So if Nairobi, Kenya can have a call center and can speak to me in English so that I can understand, why the heck can't we have a call center in Haiti? Well, one of the reasons why is we're not educating our people. We have to educate our people. And so I love the idea of supporting schools. I love that idea. But what happens after you educate them? Yeah, they have to have jobs. What's the next step? The jobs are there. But everyone has a cell phone in Haiti. Mm-hmm. Everyone has internet access. Could there be a job that they can do online? Remotely. Could we be, as professionals here, be teaching them trades or things that they could do in that country, in the country, or maybe put them in a hub, create a hub where there's internet access in that hub, solar-powered Starlink in a school district or in an area where they can maybe provide some of the services that if Nairobi, Kenya can have a call center, why the heck can't Haitians have one?
But see, the problem is, again, I agree with you, but it goes to what Philip said. You have to change the culture.
Yeah.
Because right now, people are in survival mode.
Yep.
They're not in mode. Yeah, exactly. So they're not looking towards 5 years from now, like, Joseph Funel says. Exactly. Yeah. They're looking
to get back home safely.
Exactly. Oh, what's my next meal? Or what this? And so the culture has to change. And that's the real challenge. Like, how do you change the culture right now? Because we all shared our stories, how we lived, how it was fun, how things were lawless, but in a good way, within limits. We shared that. We lived freely. We had things, access to things. We were having fun. When we didn't have toys, we made toys. So that was a different culture. Same Haitian people, but totally different culture. Now, these folks are all about trying to maintain
and survive.
Yeah, and this is the truth, because we think about it. Philip said, you sending them money. They're not taking that money and saying, you know what, I'm going to take part of this money, I'm going to put it aside so I can build something. No, they're going out and just buying the things they're already overpriced that they need at this point.
The essentials. And
exactly. So we can train them. That's great. We can do all that, but you have to change the culture first, because these folks have to feel safe. They have to feel like there's something worth fighting for. Not just survival, not just the next 5 minutes. They have to have something to strive for long term. And unless you change that culture, they're not going to see that. Right now, everyone's myopic. You only see what's in front of you. You don't see the big picture. You see just right in front of you right now, because that's what you need. You need to eat. You need to survive.
And at the end of the day, it becomes back to infrastructure, right? That you expect the government will give electricity. You expect when you turn on your faucet, water will fall out of it. You expect this when you want to call somebody, the telephone will work. But when you have, when you want to get to somewhere, you hope the pothole doesn't take out an axle on your car, right? But the fact of the matter is, those 4 infrastructures, telephone, telecommunications, electricity, water, and public works are all part of a corrupt system of where money comes from the IMF, it comes from the World Bank, it comes from around the world. The project is $100 million. 90 million goes to everybody else. 10 million goes to the project, and the project never finishes. And so we can, as you said, we train them up, but we still have to deal with the government problem, where, by the way, they've learned from the best around the world. Because they didn't learn this they didn't learn this on their own in Haiti. This was a system handed off to them to say, here's how you keep a population in check, right? And so, although there's goodwill in the country, you still have the infrastructure problem that's not there. And privatization, let's take the example of Digicel. The Digicels come in and set up an entire cellular network in Haiti because the government couldn't do it on their own, right? And so that has to be part of the solution as well, because if you have no security, if you build a business, if you give people money to build a business, someone comes and burns it down and no one arrests that person, or they're arrested at noon, but they're out by 3, that's also a problem. If you can't implement the rule of law, that's also a major problem. And so if you can't fix one without the other, you can continue to educate, but they're educating to go and do what? Exactly.
It's a dead end.
And therein lies the issue, which is, and I'm going to say something controversial here, 50 years of nonprofits have not solved this problem. 50 years with others coming into the country have not solved this problem. So that playbook is dead as far as I'm concerned, because although you have good people doing some good things in Haiti, the results and the business outcomes are not there.
So yeah, that's what it's all we're saying. 40 years,
right?
Everything has been getting worse.
And I mean, even if you go to your point that the outsiders, so to speak, haven't helped, but then I also look at the insiders, because I almost feel like what's happening in Haiti is that for the masses, they're paid just enough when they have a job.
Yeah.
Just enough to survive.
Not live and thrive.
Just enough to survive. So that then makes, let's say that's me, that then makes me dependent on you for my survival. And I can't go anywhere because without what you're giving me,
I can't feed my family.
I can't feed my family. It's
called modern day slavery.
That's exactly correct.
Bingo.
It's modern day slavery. So it's just enough to make me have to come back so I have to take care of my family. Now, what I found, you mentioned St. Martin earlier. I had a chance to spend some time there last year. Absolutely loved it. The French side reminded me of Haiti in the 1980s.
Yes.
That's exactly what I felt like. A beautiful place. But while I was there, I met many, many Haitians in St. Martin. And one of them told me, he said, the 2 biggest groups, there's 104 different nationalities in St. Martin. He said, Dominicans and Haitians make up number 1 and number 2. Huh? So what's happening is that those in Haiti that may be amongst the educated who have a chance to leave, this is not the only country they can go to.
Oh, no.
We're not the end all be all here.
Oh, no.
So they get a chance to travel the Caribbean and they take that opportunity and they go.
For sure.
So you're losing a group who, had they stayed, or again, some of us who may have returned, whatever it is, are taking the opportunities to find life in other parts of the Caribbean, and they're not going to go back, but they're not going to go back. The guys that I spoke to, they say, hey, man, we found a great life here. What's the reason? What would be the impetus? What would be the push that would make us say, you know, we're going back? Is it love of country? Is it love of people? What is it? But when you go back there to struggle and to a corrupt and unfair system, it's kind of hard. It's not a
selling point.
It's not a selling point.
I think, I mean, again, it's just the macro level is the infrastructure, law, regulation. All of us here, because we live here in this country, this is the best country to do business in. The stock markets are reliable because there is some base level of trust, if you will, that laws are in place. Now, I'm not talking about overregulation, because overregulation can stifle business, but there's still at least, I mean, there's laws. Like I remember, for example, like even buying land in Haiti, you can't even trace property records to see what things are. So I know people who thought they owned something, but then all of a sudden
somebody built a house on it. Squatter.
But
that's why blockchain.
Yeah, but what was wild to me, like hearing stories like this, I was like, how's that possible? Because I'm coming from the United States reference point.
Wow.
And I'm like, how can you own a piece of land that you don't really own the piece of land? Didn't pay money for it? Yeah, I've been paying, but you don't own it. There's no deed. I was like, there's nothing. There's no recording. And I'm just like, nobody's going to invest if you can't have those base level protections, which requires government.
Correct.
Yeah. And part of the problem also, we don't really, again, there's no real work. Most people, don't pay taxes.
Yeah.
We don't pay that.
For some, it's optional.
Correct. Yeah.
It's a suggestion.
Right. So if you're not paying taxes,
there's no money going into the money. Yeah.
But at the same time, they don't have jobs, reliable jobs. How do they pay taxes? You see what I'm saying? So it's
a challenge. It's a challenge.
And now we're delving into the banking system for a long time. Most Haitians were shut out of, and it was only allowed for those who had money. to use the banking system. And so let's say you had a micro business and you set it up. You weren't allowed to even go open a bank account. This is true story historically.
Well, you can't open a bank account if you can't read or write. You can't sign your name.
This is true.
So that's 40% of the population.
But back to education, back to infrastructure, but also back to a system that was put in place
Of course.
for the few that are the ruling class.
Yeah.
Right?
Haiti's been being punished for being the first independent Black nation in the Americas. I mean,
In the world.
In the world. They're always going to punish Haiti for this. This is something
We know it. Oh, we know it. Haitians
let it
know
go.
Haitians know it, and we just need to overcome it. We have natural resources.
we do.
We have the brain power. If we don't have it in the U.S., we have it outside of the U.S. Involve us, involve others in the diaspora that could potentially help educate. We have Zoom now. We have all kinds of ways of educating our population through remote. There's ways of doing it. Is it going to be challenging? Yeah,
It is. But Haiti needs to do what some of these African countries are doing right now, like Mali, Burkina Faso. Kick the colonizers out.
Yeah.
I mean, you need to pretty much start over. You need to turn the soil up, and you need to start investing in the country. You need to start. That's where you start. That's the biggest challenge, because those who are in charge have to be accountable. They have to take responsibility, because as much as we mean, as much as we will do, as much as we will talk all over St. Martin, Canada, France, Guadeloupe, Martinique, wherever there are Haitians, they're doing well, because Haitians do well no matter where they go. Hardworking people. So all those folks, if regardless of whether they want to go back or not, if they have an opportunity to help turn the tide, they will.
Yeah.
If it's not, going to teach, if it's sending money, or if it's just like whatever it is, they'll do it.
As
But
long
the fact is,
as long as it's secure.
exactly,
And oh, by the way,
it has to happen.
and to your point, here, even in the States, you see these roles of fractional CEOs, fractional CFOs, traveling nurses, per diem nurses, doctors who go into regions where there are not a lot of people. But guess what? You think we all around this room would go back if I knew I can come back to my family safely
Absolutely.
and not get kidnapped
Correct.
and not get held for ransom? Because at the end of the day, it goes back to security and infrastructure.
Yeah.
Any single one of us, and all of our friends, by the way, if we around the room called them and said, we're going to go do this in Haiti, and it was going to be secure, I bet you we can gather our friends to go do that and invest. But if we do that and someone comes and burns it to the ground after we put $1 million into it, that's super demoralizing.
Absolutely.
I mean, we won't do it again.
And not to mention the fact that, like you said, and Farrell said, social media nowadays, you can gather people faster,
Like this.
just like that.
There are people right now that are promoting Haiti. And it's very interesting. I saw some, again, I don't know what's true, what's not true, but I saw some Instagram videos on people in Cap Haitian. I'm going to the waterfalls. I'm going to the beaches.
Those are real.
Those are real? Oh, that's wonderful. We have the resources.
Absolutely.
We just have to get the word out. And so I think having podcasts like this, I think this is probably going to be an epic podcast, because I don't think I've ever had a podcast where Haitians come together, kind of talk about things that we really should be talking about as a population. But shifting gears a little bit, spirituality in Haitian advancement, where do you think that's going? And do you think that voodoo has a place in the lack of advancement in Haiti?
Now you're getting into a touchy area. Let's kick us off. It's a touchy area. There's a mixture of heritage and culture and belief in there. I'm going to speak from my personal perspective. You grew up in the same house as me. It's God, family, and everything else. That's it. My mother, she didn't care how late my brother and I stayed out. Sunday morning, you're going to church. I don't care what you look like, what it looked like, what was happening before. That was it, right? And so from my perspective, you can't navigate and move forward without those things. Core values. It's like sometimes just pick a kid, a random kid. What are your core values? They'll look at you with deer in the headlight. Sometimes you talk to an adult. What are your core values that help you navigate in corporate? Someone's asked me that before. And I share with them. I said, if a place where you're operating and working is grinding against your core values, that's not a place that I can stay. And I've left companies specifically because of that. The same holds true for a country, right? When you have a country based, and I assume you're referencing Wakaima. I assume you're referencing when that was done, that pact was made, if you will, and you have two sides of that coin. You have a side that says, yes, thank God we did it because Haiti became a free country. You have another side that says, because of that, that's why Haiti hasn't been able to advance, because of that linkage of how we gained our independence. I'm not a theologian, so I'm not going to go down that path. I can say for myself, my faith is what guides me in what I'm doing, and that's been my North Star. I try to instill it with my kids, but where they land, I would hope they would see our example, grandpa's example, and they would use that as a path. Haiti is super complicated in the sense that it's a touchy subject because people won't talk to it, but I think the truth of it lies in who is in power to go and execute and help the people. That's kind of how I see it, right? Where you stand, voodoo, Christianity, Hinduism, quite honestly, it's going to be an individual choice. I personally believe in separation of church and state. Let's fix the state, and then we'll figure out the church part. That's my perspective.
I'm just going to throw it out there. I think all of us here are fairly successful professionals, right? And in our rights, and we've done well for ourselves. But I think we also have the one thing in common, that we all believe in God.
Yes.
Right? And we believe in a higher power that kind of controls all of this. And so when you deviate from that, from what I can tell, this is where disorder starts. So I just want to throw that out there. See what you guys thought.
No, I do agree. I just like you guys, I grew up in a Christian household, God family. And I think the voodoo part, Haiti, I don't think is the only country that that kind of stuff happens. You know what I mean? So I think it doesn't help for multiple reasons, because there are some people that probably could have helped would say no, because I'm not going to touch that, maybe. Because obviously in the U.S. is a vast majority of Christian, and some people like to throw that as one of those. And obviously, I think it doesn't help the situation, but I don't think that's the major reason why Haiti is where it is. I think there is, again, corruption, human greed, there's a lot of that stuff, I think.
But I guess
do it more, I think.
So I guess if I'm understanding what you're saying is there's a lack of spirituality, which thereby led to all of this, basically this downslope that we're on. So people stop believing because whatever. I mean, the fact is, it's like we all said, it was good, and then in 1986, and it just started going down.
Right.
So with that, maybe a lack of spirituality led to that also, because when you stop believing, when you stop having core values, it's a chaos. Yeah.
But I'm not sure if it was more spiritual before 86 than it is after 86 either. So I don't know.
Honestly, man, I'm going to tell you right now, I was definitely more, I went to church. I don't even think my parents had to tell me to go to church.
Oh,
when I lived in Haiti, I would walk. I was excited to go. No, I went. And the weird thing is, oh my God, Philippe, I just one day, just haphazardly just saw a picture. We went to the same school because we had our first communion at the same time, which is absolutely weird. Yeah, it's just absolutely insane. You know, I mean, 6 degrees of separation, but I agree with you. I don't know that the sense of spirituality was different, you know, back then as it is now. Who knows? People are probably more spiritual now because of the fact that the things are so desperate. You know what I mean? But I don't know how much of that is helping or hurting.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with that too. So when I was a kid, the saying that I used to hear was that Haiti is 100% Catholic, Christian, and 110% Voodoo.
Yeah, that's right.
There's the key. And we got to think about that now. A lot of the slaves that were brought to Haiti came from West Africa. And we would be foolish to think that they didn't come with some type of a religion or a belief that was ingrained and that was part of their culture when they came over centuries ago.
That's right.
But I do think that as times have changed, that now with the advent of the internet and the spreading of the gospel, I do think now that if there has been a shift, that I think it has been more to the Christian side than to the Voodoo side. Now, what does that mean back in the 17 and 1800s, 1600s, 1500s? Different time. But for me, that would be my guess, is that I would think that over time that there has been some of that transition. But again, in the end, yes, I think your faith plays a big part in guiding your action to what you do. And as a whole, that may be what's missing at the core of the decision-making in Haiti. Like you're actually living a life that tells you to love thy neighbor. Your neighbor is your country. So what are you doing to actually help the population rise up from where it's at? Or are you doing everything for yourself?
And that's a question. That is the core question. Are the leaders serving the population, or are they serving themselves? But if they're not serving themselves, then who are they serving?
I think we have the answer.
That's obvious.
It's obvious.
That's obvious.
What do you thought?
Well, no, I mean, I don't think you can separate spirituality and outcomes or success, because I can just speak about, and this could be selection, because the Haitian people that come here, they tend to be folks maybe of means, or there's a family connection or something like this. But every Haitian that I know, by and large, is Christian. Faith, Jesus Christ plays an integral role in everybody here. With you got to a success, but at least in my household, you was always taught that, look, that's all fine and good, but you get that even if you have my mom used to say this, even if you had a kid who's smart, that intelligence is a gift from God.
Yes, it is.
Like, because they always say that you go be a doctor, go be a lawyer, go be an engineer. But because I got some cousins, we knew that wasn't.
That was in their path.
Wasn't in the cards.
They need to go left.
But and then the family members and friends who have reached that level, you would always come back and say, man, they had the ability. It was a gift from God. So like everybody said, every Sunday we would go to church, and again, that community aspect. Like, I mean, I grew up, you go to church on Sunday, you have Bible study on Wednesday. The ladies of the church, they say, Réunion. I used to like, all these people in my living room. They do it. And then anytime somebody got sick or there was a need, their faith undergirded
Everything.
everything. It was just like you can't separate the two. So I think spirituality, belief in Jesus Christ is kind of foundational to the outcomes that people want to see.
And it just happens that three of us attend the same church.
Well, yeah, it's too. I mean, it's so like you think about the change, and I know sometimes you think about the macro level, but sometimes I like to bring it down, and you can change your legacy, right? So that's paying homage to your parents, because I think about the sacrifice that my parents made to where I am now. It shouldn't, it's actually, and this is actually part of the Christian faith, you actually approach it from of humility and gratitude, right? And then a lot of that is missing if you think about, like, a lot of people say the leaders aren't making the best decisions. Well, I always want to know if I'm looking up, who's leading that person? Mm-hmm. So you can't not have faith or spiritual, because they're being led by something.
That's correct.
Well, I mean, it is not. It's a fallacy. It's a misconception. Everybody has a religion.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes our religion is money.
Yeah, that's right. So you have an idol. there's something that you worship in.
You worship something.
So we're going to make sure that that's kind of in check.
Well, fellas, this has been an awesome discussion. And I didn't know what to expect when I called you guys to have this episode on the Independent Physician's Blueprint, where we try to help physicians, but this one was special to me, and I wanted to bring this conversation out in the open, and hopefully it will be shared far and wide, so that not only Haitian leaders can hear the conversations, but people who are in power to help will also hear that it is possible to have Haitian Americans coming to the States, succeeding and doing positive things in this country. So thank you guys for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brad.
Thank you.
Awesome. So we hope you enjoyed this episode. It's a special episode for me, as I've been looking forward to hanging out with some friends and talking about things that I think are important in this world, especially as we live in this crazy political time. So share with a friend, and we'll see you on the other side.